Hi and welcome to Literary Hype. I am Stephanie, your Literary Hype Woman, and happy freaking new year, y'all. We made it to 2025. And that means that there's a whole bunch of new books that are coming our way, and I'm very excited. I'm so excited about these books. So today I'm talking about my most anticipated books, and it's a long list, y'all. Buckle up. There are a bunch on my list that you're gonna see pretty much anywhere on any anticipated books of the year list because everybody's excited about the same things right now. The joy of book talk and bookstagram as it is highlighting some authors and getting a mass amount of people excited about the same things. Topping that list is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is book 3 in the Empyrean series. So Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, now we have Onyx Storm. It comes out in January. It's like top tier of romantasy at this point. Like it is the book that got so many people into romantasy aside from Sarah J Maas. I'm not dissing on her. Onyx Storm is most definitely on my anticipated list. Emily Henry is a staple in the romance genre at this point. She's had banger after banger after banger. There is a theory that you either like her evens or odds, and it's very rare that you find someone who likes all of them. I am an odds person, so I am a little nervous about Great Big Beautiful Life because I did really love Funny Story. That was an odd. Same with Book Lovers. I did not like Happy Place. So that's my vibe. Great Big Beautiful Life is coming out, and so I'm cautiously optimistic that I will enjoy this one. Abby Jimenez is another one that's everywhere. I feel very bad for the team at Forever when Abby posted that she had an arc and then everyone and their brother reached out trying to get an arc of Say You'll Remember Me. I've heard it's her best yet. I have not gotten to it yet, but I want to. Coming out in March is a new Hunger Games book. We are getting another prequel. This time we are following Haymitch, and the book is called Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I don't feel like this needs a whole lot of build up because all the Hunger Games fans are coming for it. Like if you loved Hunger Games, chances are you're probably gonna read this because everybody wanted a Haymitch book when the last prequel was announced. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I did not love it. Did not love it. So again, cautiously optimistic, but also I really loved Haymitch as a character, so I'm interested in what aspect we're gonna see in his games. Allie Hazelwood has a new book coming out this year called Deep End officially. In reality, we will all tell you that it's called Wet. It's supposed to be called Wet. It is a college sports romance with some water sports, so it is supposed to be called Wet. But no, the publisher changed it to Deep End, which is unfortunate for all of us, because Wet was a much better title and much more fun. Allie's bestie is going to put out not one, but 2, at least, that we know of, books this year. And they're in different genres than what we fell in love with her for. So Julie Soto wrote Not Another Love Song, which came out last year in 2024. And the year before that was Forget Me Not, which, amazing. It's one of my favorite books. It's way up there. It's way up there. So Julie is now branching out. So she's got her YA thriller debut coming out in May, and this is The Thrashers. It's about an elite friend group at a high school that everybody wants to be part of. And obviously there's a little blood on here. So, you know, you can't have a thriller without some blood. So I am so excited to get to this one. I was so excited to get an arc of it at YALLFest this year, and I sent Julie a lot of pictures of us getting the book because we were so excited. Julie is also making her romantasy debut in July. I believe it's July. With Rose in Chains. I don't really know a whole lot about it. All I know is it's got a special edition, which I've already pre-ordered because it's so pretty and I need it. And whatever Julie writes, I'm going to read at this point. Brynne Weaver is wrapping up her Ruinous Love trilogy in 2025 with Scythe and Sparrow. Again, I don't really need to say much about this. It is a dark rom-com. It is following characters that we have met in Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark. There will be murder. There will be blood. And there will be smutty romance. And it'll be a good time. Hannah Nicole Mayer is putting out her next book in the Assistant to the Villain series. This is book 2, Apprentice to the Villain. Book 3 is going to be Accomplice to the Villain. So we will continue on Evie and Tristan's adventures. And it sounds like she's gonna get more and more involved in the murder and what all the other things that are going on in this kingdom. And hopefully there'll be more Kingsley. Because Kingsley is now very much so part of the plot. they've brought up Kingsley a lot more and kind of revealed a little bit about him. So I'm hoping for more Kingsley and more Kingsley backstory and more Kingsley maybe becoming a human again. That's my hope. We're gonna get the end of the Powerless trilogy. Fearless is coming out in 2025. Powerless is like Hunger Games meets Red Queen. No, it is not plagiarism, it's inspiration. It is not the exact same words. There are similar ideas between the two books, between Red Queen and Hunger Games and Powerless, but it is not plagiarism. Please stop saying it. Okay, now that I'm off my soapbox. So Powerless is book 1, Reckless is book 2, and then Fearless is book 3. Did I see the ending of Reckless coming from a mile away? Yes. Was I still like, oh my god, how dare you? Yes. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. V.E. Schwab is making a big return with Barrier Bones and the Midnight Soil. She said this is somewhere between Vicious and Addie LaRue, so if you like either of those, you might like this one. It does definitely have very, very big Addie LaRue vibes. I was very strongly getting the Addie LaRue vibes when I was reading this. It comes out in June. It is that, which is way too far away because I would like to talk about this with people, and not many people have read it yet. So in June, when you read this, let's talk. Tessa Bailey is putting out 2 parts in her Big Shots sports romance series, starting with Dream Girl Drama. This is more what the cover you're gonna see when it comes out. This is another hockey romance following Sig, who we met in the last book in the Au Pair Affair. So I'm very excited for this. This seems like a very complicated relationship, so I'm eager to dive into this one. I love Tessa. Her other one is Picture Perfect, which sounds like it's going to be a baseball book, but that's all we know about it at this point, is that it's going to be called Picture Perfect. Am I excited for all those books? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is everyone excited for those books? Abso-freaking-lutely. So as much as I love those books and I love those authors, I do want to talk about some that you might not have heard of and that are a little lesser known. So let's dive into some of my most anticipated reads that you might not have heard about yet. An author I don't see getting enough hype, in my opinion, is Anne Liang, and she's got a couple books coming out this year, including I Am Not Jessica Chen, which is about a girl who's kind of living in her cousin's shadow. It is listed as speculative YA, which makes me very intrigued, but her 2 last YA books I devoured in like 4 hours a piece. She does have a rom-com coming out in that same vein, coming out in June, and that's called Never Thought I'd End Up Here, which has a cover very similar to her last 2 YA rom-coms, so I feel like that's probably going to be more comparable to those 2. I did get her adult book, A Song to Drown Rivers, and just haven't gotten around to reading that, so I'm hoping to get that in as well in this next year, but I'm very excited for anything Anne Liang writes. Susan Lee is putting out her 3rd YA romance, and it is called The Romance Rivalry. I don't really know a whole lot about it. All I know is that Susan Lee wrote it, and I will be freaking reading it. And I will be begging her to be on the show, because that's what I've been doing since I met her before her first book came out. But she's shy. I love Susan so much. She is such a wonderful human being. She is a great K-pop fan, so we get to talk a lot about that. We've been to the same we were both at the same 17 concert. We just couldn't find each other because there was a lot of other people there, unfortunately. It would have been great if it was just 17, me and my sister and Susan. That would have been lovely. Romance Rivalry comes out in May. Another author that's got 2 books coming out this year, and I am so excited for both of them, is Holly James, or as one of them will be under, Holly Michelle. Holly James has been on the show 3 times now, as she's talked about each of her books. She was one that I met very early on in her, like as she was putting out her first book, and as I was just getting started with Literary Hype. And so I've loved following along with her journey. Her 2 books are The Big Fix, which is kind of a action-adventure romance. She said if you like the movie The Fall Guy, you're gonna love this book. So I really enjoyed The Fall Guy. I know I'm gonna like this book. I love Holly's writing. Her second book, and these are coming out like 2 months apart, and then she's having a baby in the middle. Like, homegirl, Holly is gonna be busy this spring. Her other book is Last Night Was Fun, which is a baseball-adjacent rom-com. So it is about a couple of people who work at a work for a baseball team, kind of in the nerdier side of things with statistics, and one of them gets a text from the other that said last night was fun, has no context. So they form a little bit of a friendship by text, and things get crazy from what I'm told. I can't wait to read anything Holly writes. So those two are both very high up on my anticipated books of 2025. There was a movie that came out a few years ago that made everybody cry, and it was called Me Before You, and that was based on a book written by Jojo Moyes. That was not my favorite Jojo Moyes book, which is saying a lot for the rest of her writing. But she's got a new one coming out, and it is called We All Live Here. It's a story about a woman whose father shows up on her doorstep and who she hasn't seen in years. He returns from Hollywood and lands on her doorstep, and so it's a unruly family is what it's described as, but it's learning about blended families and forgiveness and growth and maturity and all of that good stuff. But it's wrapped up in a Jojo Moyes book, so we're probably gonna cry. I am so excited to finally get another novel from Ashley Winstead. She does write romance and thrillers, which I love the dichotomy of that, and that she keeps her real name for both of those and doesn't have two different like pen names or whatever to categorize them. I love that she writes both genres under her own name. Her next one is a thriller, and it is called This Book Will Bury Me, and it is about some amateur sleuths. I believe it is 5 amateur sleuths as they're trying to catch a killer, and the world is watching as they get kind of sucked into a dangerous situation. Ashley wrote Midnight is the Darkest Hour, which was a delightful read for a murder book, but B, had so many Twilight references in it that it made me love her. So I am so excited to get another book by her. She was so much fun to talk to. If you have not already seen that interview, you should check it out. The Finlay Donovan series has gotten so big. It's so popular. It's been so much fun to watch it grow from the beginning when people were wearing their turtlenecks and posting about those pictures to now. And now it's book 5. We're on book 5. And there's a short story in there. So Finlay Donovan Digs Her Own Grave is coming out this winter, and I am so eager to read this. You have no idea. Elle was on the show for book 3, so hopefully we'll get her back for book 5. Don't really know a lot about the plot because I do want to go into this one blinders on, just remembering where we were after her Atlantic City trip in book 4. I did have the pleasure of helping to reveal the cover, which was so much fun last year. I mean, I did cut up my knees crawling around on dirt for this book, so it's definitely high up on my anticipated list. If you get me on Mother's Day carrying a shovel and crawling on dirt, you know that I am excited about a daggone book. Kat Cho is coming back with a sequel to Once Upon a K-Prom, and this one is called Once Upon a K-Star. If you've been around, you probably already know that I love K-pop. This one allegedly has some Stray Kids influence because she's been talking about Stray Kids on her social media. I'm just so excited for K-pop books. Like, if it's got K-pop, I'm here. An author who has written K-pop books in the past but is now doing something a little bit different is Axie, and she's got The Floating World coming out. One of the main characters in this book is a soldier who doesn't remember anything and now does odd jobs, and so that alone just makes it sound interesting of like, what if you woke up and didn't remember anything about your life before? So it's kind of fantasy with some like amnesia going on in there, but there's probably a bigger reason for the amnesia. One thing to note is this is book 1 in a series, and book 2 is also coming out this year because she knew we would be devouring this and have some questions, and thank you Axie for putting 2 books out in a year. A January release that I am super excited about is Yin Yang Love Song by Lauren Kung Jessen. When her publisher said that this was her best book yet, I was like, okay, yeah, sure. No, that's accurate. It is so beautiful. Like, I felt like I was reading it slow just to savor it. It is so good. It is about a herbalist at an inn that helps heal heartbreak who is fake dating a musician, a cellist, who he and his brother are known as the Heartbreakers because they have a really crappy dating history. And they're the cutest. And I just love them. I cannot stress to you how much I love this book, so please check out Yin Yang Love Song by Lauren Kung Jessen when it comes out in January. Another summer-ish release that I'm looking forward to is It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. She kind of rose to fame with Nora Goes Off Script, and like so this is her 4th book. All 3 of her first ones are good, and I'm so excited for this one. She said yes, the title is a Taylor Swift reference, and it looks like the cover is a Taylor Swift reference as well. And plus, so I've bought a couple things along the way to like take pictures of her books with. And she said for this book, I'm gonna need to buy a lot of candy and eat candy in my closet. And you know, I'm not mad about that at all. I'm not at all. I'm very excited about It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. Coming out on April 1st is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. I loved book 1, Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. It's very quirky, but it is full of so much heart. And I was not expecting that, and so it did really blow me away when I read the first one. Jesse Q. Sutanto does do a lot of quirky mysteries, so this is going to be a mystery. I'm expecting big quirky vibes and a lot of heart because Vera is back and she is such a sweet little old lady and I just love her so much, even if she is a little off on some things. So I'm very excited to dive back into Vera Wong's world with book 2. Also coming out on April 1st is All the Stars Align by Gretchen Schreiber. She wrote Ellie Haycock is Totally Normal, which was an absolute delight of a read in 2024, and so I'm very excited as this one's a little bit more of a magical twist on things. Her first book was very reality based, and this one's got a little bit more magic and curses, where a girl and her family, they're cursed. She has taken fate into her own hands and kind of refusing to buy into that. So I'm very excited to see where Gretchen takes this. Plus I'm guessing there's going to be at least a BTS reference in there somewhere. Somehow I trust that Gretchen will do this for me. Jasmine Guillory will be publishing again in 2025 with Flirting Lessons. This one's another one in her Napa Valley series. She's one I just trust. When she's putting out a book, I'm gonna read it because they've all been pretty solid. So I didn't look anything into it other than it is part of the Napa Valley series. The last one was set at a winery, so we'll see what's happening with Flirting Lessons. A February release that I'm really looking forward to is Celebrity Crush by Christy Swift. This is about a romance writer's wildest dreams coming true, as in she's on the bestseller list, she's got a movie deal, and she's got a date with the real-life inspiration for her book. She just has to keep it all together. Easier said than done, right? Coming out in January is Playing Flirty by Shamiz Patel. The publicist was so excited when she was talking about it. She was like, this is the nerdiest book you will ever read, and it's in the best way. This is about two nerds who love to outplay each other even when their hearts are on the line. She said this is full of a lot of nerdy references, and I am such a big nerd, so I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I haven't gotten into that world yet, but there's Bananagrams, so there's other games involved, so it's gonna be a good time. A thriller that I'm really excited for is Anna Snokstra's The Ones We Love. It's about a girl who there's a party she doesn't remember and she's got bruises all over her body, and ever since then there's been a padlock on her bedroom door and her parents are being weird. The first book of Anna's that I read was The Only Daughter, and that one was so wild. And so whenever people ask for like a mystery thriller recommendation that is not one of the mainstreamy ones, that's the one I talk about, is The Only Daughter. So I have high hopes. I haven't seen anything from her since then, and that's been probably 10 years maybe since I read that one. But that one stuck with me quite a bit, so I'm very excited to see what else she's got up her sleeve. Natasha Lester has a new historical fiction novel coming for us in April, and it's called The Mademoiselle Alliance. It's about a woman who becomes the leader of a spy network, and it's set in 1928 and 1938. So I'm very interested to see how those two timelines will interact, because Natasha is very skilled at like multiple timelines, multiple POVs, and then bringing them together in a way that you wouldn't expect. She also often bases her books on real people and real history, so I'm always fascinated by her author notes and to see what was real and what she kind of played with. So Mademoiselle Alliance by Natasha Lester. Maisie Eddings is making a return, which makes me so happy. In August, we will get Well Actually, which is about a journalist who covers hot dogs and sausages, apparently, calling out her ex, who happens to be a social media star. I was thoroughly entertained by all of the cover reveal photos that Maisie put out as she was announcing Well Actually, and her books are so much fun, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Amanda Collins is coming back with a book in April as well, and hers is called The Wallflower's Guide to Viscounts and Vice. I cannot get it to come up on Goodreads, but it's on her Instagram, so I know it's real. It's on the publisher's list, so I know it's real, but I couldn't get a description to come up. But that doesn't matter, because she writes historical romances with mystery subplot, so I am in. I am eagerly awaiting book 2 in the Governess Spies series. This is book 1, Never Blow a Kiss. Book 2 is Never Gamble Your Heart. These are by Lindsay Levis. Again, historical romance with a mystery subplot is crack. It's so good. I'm gonna read it, especially when they're governess spies. They're out here raising children, solving things. They're great. I loved it. On the nonfiction side of things, I'm looking forward to The Happy Writer by Marissa Meyer. This is about getting more ideas, writing more words, and finding more joy from first draft to publication and beyond. Marissa got her start with NaNoWriMo, and she's now got a whole bunch of books out, so I've gotten the privilege of doing a panel with her at Emerald City Comic Con in 2024, so I'm definitely eager to check out what she has as far as writing advice. I want to get back to some creative writing, so maybe this will inspire and encourage me. Amelie Howard is making her romantasy debut in 2025 with The Starlight Heir. This comes out in January. It is about a bladesmith blessed by the stars, a prince with a dangerous secret, and a god bound in the shadows. She said this has some like Afro-Caribbean mythology vibes in it, so I don't know anything about those mythologies, so I'm going to learn stuff as well as enjoy romantasy. So it sounds like a great time. I'm very much looking forward to this one. I'm also looking forward to Where the Shadows Bloom by Catherine Bakewell. She is a St. Louis author, so that's always fun for me to get to support local authors in my area. This is a cozy romantasy about an ancient god, a wicked bargain, and a love more powerful than the darkness, because who doesn't love a shadow daddy? I am so excited about The Launch Date by Annabelle Slater, which comes out in February. This is what if the secret to finding love on a dating app was to meet the person in real life first? Food for thought. Although that is also a nightmare to see someone on a dating app that you know in real life. And even worse is when you drop the phone because you're laughing and it swipes the yes on them. And then you have to see them at work. And you're like, I didn't mean it. That's happened. That's a whole nother story. Another January YA release is Afterlife by Gail Forman. She is the author of If I Stay. This one is about a girl who was just riding her bike home, and when she sees her mom starts screaming. That's weird. Turns out she's been dead for 7 years. Dun dun dun. A Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. Like, look at this cover. It is so pretty. A crown she never wanted, a love she always needed. It's These Hollow Vows meets The Selection. I was just telling other people to read The Selection, like not an hour ago. So if it's a comp to The Selection, I'm gonna read it. But it sounds like it's The Selection with some more magical twists in it. So I'm excited. And this comes out in February. A March release that I'm excited for is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. This is described as Invisible Life of Addie LaRue meets How You Lose the Time War. And I loved Addie LaRue, so that's obviously a comp I'm gonna pick up. How You Lose the Time War is one I have not read, so it's more fantastical. See, but the twist on this is Addie LaRue couldn't, no one could remember Addie LaRue, but this is like, she's lived multiple lives and she can remember all of them. So it's similar vibes, but different. It sounds good. It was a very popular one at YALLFest, so Our Infinite Fates is one that I am eager to read and check out. A historical YA book that I'm looking forward to is Under the Same Stars by Libba Bray. This is got multiple timelines going on. The 1939 and the 1980 timelines are both set in Germany, and then it's New York 2020. So I'm very interested to see how she weaves these different timelines together and what this is gonna be. And yes, I know I could have started it already, but I have so many books to start. I'm also looking forward to The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Amelie Wanzhou. This is one that's been very hot at the convention circuit as well. Enter a world of magic and myth, deadly secrets, and a beautiful boys, and a girl who must fight to survive it all. Yeah, we gotta fight to survive the beautiful boys, that's for sure. This comes out in March. One that I'm excited to read because of the way that it was pitched to me at Comic-Con is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. They're like, if you love the nostalgia of the dystopian of like 10 years ago, but you're also a Fourth Wing fan, then this is for you. So as a Fourth Wing fan who loved Hunger Games and Red Queen and The Selection and all that, I'm very excited for the Silver Elite. Trust no one, lie to everyone, hide in plain sight, and whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. Psychic gifts are a death sentence, and there are rules for survival. One I picked up at New York Comic Con that I'm really excited about is The Trouble with Anna. This is like a historical, Lady Anna didn't intend to ride into a high-stakes horse race or start up a betting ring. She certainly didn't mean to find herself in many darkened corners with Lord Julian Ramsay quarreling and kissing. But when her grandfather's strange will stipulates that Anna must marry or she'll be left broke, there's nothing she won't do to fight for her independence. Even go head-to-head with Lord Ramsay with her own heart as the prize. So it sounds very Bridgerton-y, but with like escalated stakes. And Crash Landing by Annie McQuaid. Look at this cover, it's so cute. This is about two exes who are forced to reunite because they're on the same plane and it crashes on a deserted island. This is quite the different take on Second Chance. I'm on an island and you're the only other person here. Killer Potential. Look at how this cover is also really fun. This comes out in March. It is a darkly funny and provocative edge-of-your-seat thrill ride following two unlikely fugitives, an SAT tutor who finds a rich employer brutally murdered, and the bound woman she frees from their mansion. This sounds like an adventure. Comes out in March. There's so many other books up here that I forgot to pull, and I am running out of time. I do have to actually go to my job. So many other books that are great that I'm looking forward to. Kennedy Ryan has one coming out, The Raven Scholar. There's so many I could talk about all day. But these are just a few of the books I am very excited about for 2025. Let me know in the comments what book you are most excited about, and if I missed one that you are like, how dare you, let me know. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Literary Hype YouTube channel if you've not done so already, and click that little bell so you get notifications every time I post a new video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.